Hello, everybody. My name is Roger, and with me today is Alex. Hi, Alex.
Hi.
And we are here to record the database group 16.2 planning issue. So in 16.2, we are at full capacity. Everybody is present except for, I think, one last minute leave, but overall, everybody's here. However, we do want to signal for folks that about half the team's capacity is generally taken up by unplanned work as well as stable counterpart support. So our overall velocity on these priority items is relatively slower than some other teams of a comparable size. So with that being said, we've got mostly the same themes as last time, but we have made some good progress and updates. So Alex, do you want to jump into our partitioning strategies and how our new hardware upgrade has changed some of this work?
Yeah. One of the great news pieces since last month is we completed not we, but the infrastructure database, the database reliability group completed the hardware upgrades for our Postgres instances, including our primaries, and we've seen substantially reduced CPU saturation. So that's really great. But in addition to that, we've also managed to focus some of our work on the partitioning strategies. So going forward, we're identifying a set of tables by vacuum time in order to help teams prioritize which tables are the highest priorities for partitioning. So we should see that coming. Teams have expressed some frustration about not really knowing if their tables are a high priority or a low priority, even just based on table size. Sometimes it's a good indicator, sometimes it's not. And then the other great part is the auto-explain plans, which is actually I'm going to cover more of in our automated query analysis, but we're excited to use this analysis tool to aid our partitioning efforts. And we can cover more of that below.
Yeah. And so just generally for folks here, the goal continues to be reducing table sizes because even though we've bought more CPU headroom, which is to say we've relieved one resource constraint, overall we do see and expect to have additional constraints with our primary database. So that's where some of these vacuum times come in, right?
Yeah. Additionally, for that, large tables in general are just more difficult to manage. They take longer to migrate, and there are a lot of headaches that go with having large single tables, and breaking them up gives us other advantages than just vacuum times. So
cool. And then next up, we've got primary keys to big int. I know this is something that we were quite concerned about a few milestones back, and it's been ongoing. I think right now we are at about 80% complete. Alex, is there more you want to add on this one?
yeah, we actually should see the alert for this clear probably in the next few days because the table swap got merged. But it's important to remember that since the events table isn't done migrating and the column for notes isn't dropped yet, we are still at risk for this table until those two items are complete because we won't be able to add. It'll error out when it tries to add events, and we could see we could see an increased error rate if we hit this. It's probably not catastrophic if we hit the overflow, but it would be bad. So we are still at risk for this until that's done, but we are very hopeful that we'll have events done in 16.2.
Ooh, very exciting. I know the team will be nice to just take some things off here and free up some focus on automated database testing, which I know is generally something we've been pushing for some time. Alex, I'll let you jump into that one too.
Yeah, we've had a few different approaches for automated database testing over the last several months, and we finally have found an approach that we believe will be able to run on every branch without having substantial impacts to pipeline timing or overall resource consumption, which is great news. It means we're going to be able to use that not just to identify new queries added, but also we're excited about the analysis options for identifying things like if a table gets partitioned, does the explain plan show that it is iterating multiple partitions, right? And because we added auto explain as a part of this, we get generic explain plans for every query. So we'll be able to see when partitioning could, we can just add a partition and see if that impacts our explain plans. And that's going to be really, really helpful for teams to be able to automatically identify queries that are impacted by partitioning.
And just to showcase some of the efforts and improvements we've done in iterating over these different approaches, Alex, I remember you had mentioned that Simon had come up with a pretty big and meaningful delta in some of his analysis. Do you remember that one?
Uh, for the partitioning?
No, I think it was like something about extracting data.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So the original, I think there are some we record something like 500 million or 400 million queries, and they have managed to deduplicate those queries down to around 20,000,
Yeah.
which we save as something like a 4 or 5 megabyte bundle. Which means we can artifact that, and we can artifact it on the default branch, and we'll be able to do comparisons against that
Yeah.
to see
So
delta there.
definitely a lot of work behind the scenes on that whole theme of improving things.
Yeah. So these last three focus items are smaller. Migration 16, we shipped the 15 squash, so that is done. And John is going to try and ship the 16 squash in a single milestone. We're hoping that we can get this done basically in a single milestone this time, because we've made many improvements over the last several months. For safe background processing, uh, Prava shipped the changes that we now have the helpers that we can use to add them to sidekick workers. And in 16.2, Prava would like to select a worker that we can implement these checks on and monitor results, and then we'll make them widely available and document them. And then the last thing is migrations running in milestone, not version order. So our initial aim here is just to get the milestone support added to our migrations, and we're also aiming to get the ordering done. And we think this will actually really improve the experience for self-managed customers that jump multiple upgrades. It'll keep them, if they hit an error during a migration, it'll mean they're still compatible with a GitLab version, even if it's not the one they started or targeted. One of them, unlike how they upgrade now. Plus, it'll guarantee consistency with how we upgrade. Well, it'll make it more consistent with how zero downtime customers upgrade, which is also a big bonus.
Cool. Well, thank you for talking through all of that. That's definitely a lot of good stuff. And it's really good progress the past month. Thank you again, everybody. This is the database group 16.2 planning. We'll see you guys around.